Today's episode is brought to you by Patreon. If you're interested in supporting the show, go to patreon.com/Joshua Revelis and become a $2 backer today and get early access to the new episodes. I'll be leaving a link down in the description to the page, but for now, on to today's episode. You're listening to the Augmented Experience podcast. My name is Joshua Revelis. I'm a student, musician, and a gamer at heart. Join me as I sit down with fellow enthusiasts to talk about what's going on in the technology, business, and gaming world. I hope you guys enjoy. Alright, everybody, welcome back to the show. My name is Joshua Revelis. I am your host as usual, and welcome back to the Friday episode. Obviously you guys already know I'm going to say it, but 7 episodes away from the episode 50th special. I'm just going to give you guys a little bit heads up, a little bit of sneak peek of what's going on. So far everything is going really well. In terms of getting the video ready and everything, it actually came out pretty quickly. And obviously you guys know I have something special lined up because we voted for it a long time ago. We do have new music coming, so keep that in mind. And overall, we also have a little bit of an animation that we're working on with the logo for when we do video episodes. So it's going to be really nice and very special. So I hope you guys make sure you keep waiting on that because I'm going to be really going crazy with advertising that episode. But overall, you guys already voted for this week's episode. Wednesday's episode was over FaceApp, and obviously this week is going to be over my experience so far working at Amazon. And I've been getting a lot of comments about this one because a lot of people are like, wait, bro, what do you mean? Did you quit working at Amazon? No, I didn't. I still work there. But I should have been more specific. It's overall my time there so far, because especially because if you keep in mind, or not really keep in mind, I think something interesting in my mind was how both of these topics this week are very controversial things going on recently. As you guys know, on Amazon Prime Day, there was a big boycott and protest happening because of the working conditions in Amazon, and it's a really big mess, essentially. That it's kind of interesting how a lot of people that never worked in these places, I kind of almost comes in a sense of a little bit of entitlement, but at the same time I understand where they're coming from, like, especially like workers that are complaining. But when you see like people on the outside saying, bro, there's people dying in these things and everything, like, keep in mind, guys, people do this all the time. Like, they always do this, and they always would like to exaggerate something to the point that, you know, it makes it seem worse than what it really is. So I want to keep in mind, or at least you guys to keep this in mind, this episode will not be me almost defending Amazon in any way or shape or form, but it's more just being honest with you guys and sharing what I've experienced so far and how do I like it, and, you know, where are the areas that they can improve in, because yes, there are areas to improve in. Clearly, we're not going to stand here and say, yeah, there's no areas to improve in, because there clearly is. But let's go into it. So let's give a little bit of context of this entire story. So I started working for Amazon on June 23rd of this year. So depending on when this episode comes, well, it's Friday, so it'll already be over a month when I started working there. And so far, my time working there, obviously my first night, I think I've told, if you know me personally, have you seen follow me on Instagram and stuff like that? My first day was a little bit of rocking. You know, I'm not going to lie to you guys. With the whole scheduling issues that happened, and this will probably be my first complaint with what I've experienced so far, I'd say is the term of, well, not really term, but I think in terms of how management goes, it was a very sloppy mess. I say that because when working there on my first night, we were all hired to work specifically me, I was hired to work a Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday shift, I was Saturday, Sunday, Monday. There we go. And everybody else was Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. And all of us were 9:30 to 3:30 in the morning. We were all hired. We went through the orientation process and everything. And then when it came to actually the first day, and they were giving us our badges and, you know, explaining to us, you know, what does it feel like to work here? What are the requirements? What are the expectations? And we all find out that the shift we were hired for at the facility that we work at, which is the one in Garland, Texas, the fulfillment center, we find out that our shift actually doesn't exist. And so we actually don't have a set schedule. So we ended up getting lumped into what's known as a quad A, which is everybody that works VET. So VET stands for voluntary extra time. And essentially all of our shifts were based on a first come first serve basis. When there's slots available, that we would go onto the app, the Amazon A to Z, and from there we would choose if we want to pick up that shift for the day or not, or the week. Like, you get to choose when they post them out, because usually, depending on how it works, they either post a ton out on Sunday for the whole week, or they do it like every day. They always open one up during the day. And because of that, everybody in my shift got stuck with VET. So we all have to rely on VET to get shifts. And realistically, that sucked a little bit. I'm not going to lie to you guys. But at least it works because, it makes it very flexible. For people that are college students, it's very flexible for them. Like, yeah, I get it. Set shift is kind of a nicer thing to have. But overall, I think in terms of how the management handle it, I'd say pretty well. Obviously, they were not expecting this. Like, they were unaware that we were hired for that shift that doesn't exist at that facility. So I'm not going to knock them on that, but I think in terms of like handling it so far, there hasn't been any resolution to that issue. So yeah, I think that's definitely that's something I'll give them a knock on. Personally, I would. So we keep going. And so that first week, basically my first 3 days, because it's a 3-day shift, everybody came on Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday because, it made sense. All of us started on Sunday, so they wanted us to come back Monday and Tuesday to finish our training so that we'd be well aware and equipped of what to do. Obviously, since we don't have a set shift, we have to be open to do anything they ask us to do when we come in for VETs. So we finished our training. My first night, it was really hard. It definitely hurt my back a little bit because I really wasn't that used to physical labor in that aspect of actually moving boxes and stuff like that. I wasn't well prepared to handle that personally, so my lower back did hurt a little bit. Obviously, you have to be very careful with that stuff because, they always tell you don't bend your back, always use your legs, or always bend with your knees and not your back, because obviously it's going to hurt your back and stuff like that. Obviously, since I really wasn't that used to that stuff, I kept doing that, so it did hurt. So I started wearing a weighted belt, and it definitely helped. I'll tell you that, guys. I'll tell you guys that right now. It definitely helps. So finished the first 3 days, and so far I was really tired because all the shifts were from, like I said, 9:15 to 3:30 in the morning. I never worked that long, especially during the night, so I was definitely tired. After the first few weeks, or after the first week, essentially the whole training day, I got my first paycheck because we get paid $15.50 an hour. And personally, that's really good for starting pay, especially I'd say for very minimal stuff in comparison to where else you could work. It was good. You also you do get benefits of Amazon clearly. They give you basic 401k and stuff like that. They give you Amazon Prime and stuff like that. You also get stuff like discounts on phone providers and things like that. And I think obviously the main thing everybody wants me to talk about is overall the working conditions and how does it feel like to work in the facilities. So this is the main thing that everybody has been in contention about. This is what's been very controversial in the news lately. And my personal opinion, this is going to be my opinion, I know it's going to be controversial, it's not that bad. And the way that everybody's blowing out of the proportions is absurd. I think it's really dumb. Like, here's what I mean. So there's different Amazon facilities. There's a sortation center and then the fulfillment center. The fulfillment center is the one where your packages go to when it's a stop, like it's about to go out for delivery, and the sortation is where it first stops or starts, depending on if you use Prime Now or etc. So my friend Carlos and Rodrigo work at the sortation center in Wilmer, and that one is a very cold facility. Like it's one of the newer ones. That's what it is. It's definitely one of the newer ones. Very cold, very AC heavy. And things work a little bit differently over there than it does with me and Matthew over here in the one in Garland, which is the fulfillment center. So with the fulfillment center, it's basically a giant warehouse where you have a giant conveyor belt. And obviously, yes, we get packages in from the trucks because all the packages from the sortation center come to us. And those trucks pull up to the back and what we call inbound. And from inbound, you get the obviously the workers that are working inbound. They unload the Gaylords onto the belt. Essentially, you get little box cutters. You cut a U-shape into the big old box, or Gaylord really. And you take out all those packages, put them on the belt, and then you have scanners scan them, and then they sort them into the big lanes that feed into the conveyor belts that lead into where the scanners and the pullers are. So with that, yes, it is going to be, realistically, it's not feasible to AC that entire place because the doors are always open. There's people going in and out with trucks and everything, so we really can't have AC in there. So it's almost like a laundry room. That's the way my mom calls it. It's like a big old laundry shop. Yeah, it makes sense. It's hot. The fans there are not AC. Like, there's big old industrial fans that don't really work that well. But I think one way that at least was really nice, and at least in terms of accommodation, like the employees, or specifically like the people in management there, they really do care about the people. And I cannot speak, and like I will say this right now, I cannot speak for other people's experiences there. This is my experience, and this is why I'm titling it my experience. I don't know how the other fulfillment centers handle across the states. I don't know how they handle things. I don't know how the management is there, but from my perspective, from our management, or specifically the people managing us there, are really nice. They're really nice to us. They're not dicks, you know. They're really helping us out. They're making sure everybody's hydrated. They make sure that, you know, every, I'd say 10 minutes, they always bring water bottles for everybody that's working the belts and everything and the scanners. They bring, obviously, we have these little electrolyte pops that are like, basically frozen Gatorade is what they are. And they bring everybody like every 30 minutes just to make sure everybody is hydrated and everything, especially because I did work Prime Week and I worked the entire week. So there's a lot of packages moving. But it's also nice that there's water at every station. There's always a big cooler filled with ice water, very cold, and they always keep refilling it every time. Obviously, everybody gets 2 breaks and then the big lunch break and everything. And so far, we haven't had anybody pass out. We haven't had any issues with anybody passing out, except one time where it was during Prime Week, and it's because the people told them that they weren't hydrated. They didn't drink water at all while they were working. Even though the people that the management team was coming by and handing water to everybody, they said no. So that's not on the management team's fault, because if they're giving you everything and it's right there in arm's reach and you still say no, that's your fault. Like, we're not going to stand here and say that you're obligated. No, that's your fault because you essentially caused your own issue. So they did pass out. Obviously, we have a medical team on standby as well in the facility. So when it goes into the whole concerns that everybody's like, oh, everybody's dying in there. No, nobody's dying in there. It's hot, yes. Like, we're not gonna stand here and say, yes, it's hot. Like, it has to be hot. Like, because physically, it's financially impossible to, AC the entire facility unless if they've changed the entire structure, which takes a lot more time and effort and definitely a lot more. And I think this is where a lot of people were kind of crazy when they kept complaining about the pay of Amazon and everything. Like, obviously, each state is different, clearly. And we're not going to stand here and debate that. Yeah, like, personally, living in Texas, $15.50 an hour is perfectly feasible. It works perfectly fine for a college student that doesn't have really that many bills to pay. It does help put money in the bank account, clearly, because obviously Texas minimum wage isn't that high. It's like $8.50. And obviously, in the state of New York, it would make sense why $15 an hour has to be the minimum wage because of how expensive it is to live over there. So obviously, we're not going to stand here and compare Texas and New York because obviously, to live in Texas, it is cheaper to live in Texas than New York, clearly. And that's why we don't end up, well, really, we don't pay an income tax, but obviously we still pay the federal one, but not the local state one. We don't really have one. And so overall, $15.50 an hour is really good. Obviously, your pay can go up depending on the shift. So if you work at the Prime Now facility, which is the 2-hour shipping Amazon service that they do, that one, they pay you $16 an hour, but obviously that one, the shifts are going to be a little bit longer. Clearly, you're going to be working a little bit faster pace, and essentially you'll be working with freezers and things like that. So, because obviously the Prime Now is meant for food delivery. It's meant for like quick little things and stuff that are in the warehouse that they already have lying around that they can just ship out very quickly. And mine, obviously, is the traditional, the 2-day shipping and everything. Ours is the final stop before it goes out to people in the city of Dallas or state of Texas. So there's that. Overall, I think in terms of how the working condition and the working environment, I'd say it's really safe so far. I haven't seen anybody, lose an arm or anything like that, or any major injuries happen. They were honest with us. We really haven't had any of those issues happen. In terms of the working environment, yes, I will tell you it is hot. And yeah, you're doing a lot of physical labor, so you're going to sweat a lot. So there's no way around it. Like, anybody that says like, oh, it's too hot, well, it's physical labor. You're going to be hot no matter what. Like, you don't see electricians complaining about, oh, it's too hot. Like, bro, they're working in a house installing an entire system without AC because they're putting in the AC. The only time they feel the AC is once they're done and they're outside when it's hot. So you can't really complain about anything. If you're complaining about that, then you really shouldn't do physical work. And one thing is really interesting, and it's this whole debate about like the working environment should be safer and everything like that. And I'm like, I'd say that is true. Every work environment should be very safe for the employees. Like, there should be no work environment where there's clear present danger to everybody. And to that, I'd say the main thing I would say that Amazon would need to fix, especially with the fulfillment centers, is to find a way to get a little bit better cooling system in there. Like, I get it. Maybe getting AC is feasibly not realistic, but you know, it would be nice if they can get those industrial fans to work better, I'd say. So like, maybe swap them out, find like a solution that's a little bit better overall to help keep the facility at least cooler than what it is. Obviously the temperatures in there will switch drastically depending on the season. Obviously during the summer it's going to be pretty hot, and then during the winter it's going to be pretty cold. So there has to be a good balance in between the two and figure out, you know, what's the best course of action. I think, yes, in terms of what ours is doing specifically, and I'm speaking specifically for ours, overall in terms of making sure everybody's hydrated and everything, they're doing a good job. The fact that there's even a medical team there to begin with is really nice. Obviously, everybody's working where they belong. Like, even the people that are inexperienced, they're in very safe places. Like, nobody's doing anything crazy. You know, especially if you're a scanner and you're pulling and you're moving heavy boxes, somebody's always there to help you, like right next to you. They're willing to help you, and they always like, and if somebody sees you're doing something, say if you're lifting with your back, they're going to tell you, hey, be careful. You need, like, if do you need help, like they'll always ask you. And I think it's also something interesting too, is the working environment with, especially when you include the people, is really nice. A lot of the people that I work with are really nice. They're just people just working, you know, just, it's like a second job to them, or, you know, just college students just working there, and they're really nice people. Like, they're really cool. I haven't met anyone that's been a jerk. Everybody's been really nice, helping you out. Like, if you're new, they help you out. Even people that have been there for a while now, they help each other out, and they're friends. Like, everybody's always talking, like having a good time, having good discussions. Yeah, occasionally we'll start complaining about how hard it is, but then we'll just make other jokes and just have conversations, get to know each other better. And overall, it's been really nice. I think in terms of working environments, yeah, it's definitely the best job I've worked so far. Obviously the best paying job I've worked so far as well, because I used to work at McDonald's. But I think overall, in terms of the interactions, everything, it was just really nice. It's a nice environment, clearly it is. Obviously, yes, it's hot, and I think it's probably the main concern, but I always stay hydrated. I always have my water jug with me. I always fill it up. Usually my shifts, like, I've been working, because I did say I worked Prime Day. My shifts would last only for 4 hours during Prime Week, because I worked 5 days. So I'd work from 8 to 12 during Prime Week. And another thing I will say is there's a lot of packages to move every night. Especially during Prime Week, we had at least averaging 85,000 to 90,000 packages a night. And on a normal week, like if there's nothing going on, it would be 45,000 to up to 60,000. So that would be the average, or the range, really. So clearly there's a lot of work that needs to be done, clearly. For scanning, they have a set minimum that every scanner should be, at least, if they want to be doing good scanning jobs and to get as many packages as we can done, $220 an hour. Obviously that would be considered the green area that you always want to be in. The yellow is like 160 and above, and then red is 150 and lower. So you always want to avoid the red, because they can fire you for that, because you're not doing it quick enough. But that's why I said, as scanning, there's people that can do it well, and there's people that can't. So I personally was able to at least get to 160 on my third day. Like, I was used to it, but obviously I don't see myself getting up to 220. So that's why I haven't been doing scanning and stuff like that while I work my shifts. I've usually either been working inbound, which is where, like I told you guys, where we're the first people that see the packages, and then either pulling on the belts. And my experience is doing that stuff. I really like inbound. It's very fast paced. Like, that's why I say one thing that you really notice when you're working in these very fast paced environments is you don't check your time. And I would personally never wear a watch, because in my opinion, the second you see your watch, you are going to be like, oh, I want this to be over with time. Why are you moving so slow? But when you're not paying attention, yeah, 2-3 hours fly by really quick. And it's really nice. You always want to make sure you have water on you, make sure you're hydrated. Always work with the people around you because they're willing to help you. And overall, in terms of addressing the complaints a lot of people have been having, like, I get it, like, pay is a very subjective thing, like with minimum wage, that I get it. Amazon is the richest company in the world, clearly. You know, obviously its owner is the richest man on the entire planet. Or I think specifically in the US, but I'm not going to say in the world, but I'll say in the US, yes, he definitely is, Jeff Bezos. But I will say that when people are complaining about the pay, it is kind of interesting because somebody made this interesting joke where they're like, realistically, if we think about minimum wage is zero because you have no experience, you have nothing under your name, and you have nothing to bring to the table. That's what people can. That was a joke somebody made, but I think it holds true to some degree, because that is true. Like, you're being paid for being inexperienced, and all it is physical labor. It's just basic common sense. Like, move box here, scan box in this area, and put A in A, put B in. Like, you get what I'm saying? It's common sense. Like, you don't need a degree to do that. So I think Amazon did a good job at least having the minimum wage at 15, and they still gave you basic healthcare and stuff like that. Like, obviously, I'm not going to stand here and tell you guys what that's about because personally, I don't know about that stuff myself either. So that's still something I'm figuring out. But that's also because it's something you learn as you get older too. For people as a side job, yeah, it's a great side job. You can get work the VET shift that I do, and all you have to do is just work 8 hours of VET a month, and you still keep it. So, like, people that have 2 jobs and, like, say they work 40 hours at the other one, but then, say they get paid bi-weekly. So the week that they wouldn't get paid, they would work at Amazon and get paid. So they would at least have money moving like that. So it is really nice for people that have double jobs. It's very flexible for them, so they can choose when they want to work and when they don't want to work. For college students, it's really good because you're getting good money. It's better than flipping burgers, in my opinion. I'd rather move boxes than any fast food or anything because I'm not dealing with people. Well, you still are dealing with people, but you're not in that aspect of having to serve customers if somebody gets mad because of their order was wrong. You don't have to deal with any of that. It's just put the box where it belongs and you're done. And overall, it's been really nice. Obviously, yes, it's been really hot. Very, very physically intensive work. Clearly, that's what it requires, is you have to sweat a lot because you're working a lot. Like, you're moving a lot of heavy stuff, and you'd be amazed on a lot of stuff people order too. Like, obviously, one thing they tell us is you're not allowed to disclose if you see somebody's address that like, say, a famous person, you can't talk about their address. Obviously, I haven't seen anything like that, and so I don't really have to worry about that. But you get my point, is that you'd be really amazed on the kind of stuff that people order. And it's just crazy, especially during Prime Week. Like, I think I saw, like, the same item, like, every night, like, about, like, 20 to 30 times a night. So it was crazy. But overall, my time at Amazon has been really nice. I still work there, like I've said. I still work there. I'm obviously very tired from the Prime Week because not my back, but my body is a little bit sore from it because it's a lot. We had to move a lot of packages every night. So, but I think overall, a lot of the criticisms that people have are things that, they're working to improve. I get it. Like, it takes time, and I think that they should continue to improve it. I'm not saying that they should just stay the way they are. No, continue to improve the environment. But to people complaining about, like, dangerous working conditions and everything, no, there hasn't really been any dangerous working conditions. Like, it's only dangerous if you do something stupid. So, like, people are like forklifts and everything. In our facility, nobody drives a forklift. There's no forklift driving in our facility. So, and that's our fulfillment. Like, everything comes in trucks. You use, like, the little pallet jacks and you move everything around. There is no forklift to move everything. So, people are complaining about, you have, like, inexperienced people driving forklifts and everything. Like I said, I'm speaking of our facility. Nobody does that. But in terms of that stuff, yes, I do agree that there needs to be a little bit of training more realistically, there should be training in place to drive a forklift because, yes, if you mess up, you can do something pretty dangerous. So, but I think it's even pretty straightforward. You get what I'm saying? Like, it's all common sense thinking. And my advice when you go into working with places like this is don't feel any sense of entitlement to anything because you're entitled to nothing. That's just the reality of life. You are entitled to nothing in life. You don't deserve anything. The only thing you deserve is to die. That pretty much is how it is. Like, you are guaranteed to be born and you're guaranteed to die. That's all you're guaranteed in life. Like, that's the truth, guys. Whether you want to argue it or not, that's pretty much the truth. There's nothing guaranteed in life. But I would say be mindful of your surroundings. Be aware of where you are in life personally. Like, if you don't have a degree and everything and you're just looking for a quick job, it's definitely a good one. It's definitely a good option, in my opinion. It's better than working at McDonald's where you're getting paid less, or Starbucks where you're getting paid less. Like, you get $15.50 an hour. Obviously, you get paid every week, so that's a lot better than bi-weekly. You know, it's a very flexible schedule. So for college students, it's a good option, clearly, because you're pretty much guaranteed the job. You just choose the day you want to start, and then you go from there. And overall, my advice would be careful when you're working in physically intensive jobs, because, like I said, you don't want to hurt yourself. You want to know your limits and be careful. Like, don't hurt your back, because if you hurt your back, trust me, like, I have a friend that has a separated disc in his back and it sucks. I'm telling you that right now. So you don't want to mess up your back. It sucks a lot. But I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. I know it's a little bit more of a sharing my experience, and not really, like I said, it's not trying to debunk the claims going on that a lot of people are having with Amazon. It's the sense that I'm speaking on my experience of what I've seen so far and giving you guys a different perspective from it, because, like I said, as I talked about it on Instagram one time, where these people were posting about it and they were making jokes with, like, how about you take care of your employees? And I said, well, I haven't had that many issues and I worked there. And they're like, oh, how much did Amazon pay you and stuff like that? I'm like, I'm not getting paid. I'm just being honest and sharing my experience. And they stopped talking, and everybody's like, hey, like, he has a point. Like, you know, you can't just say every Amazon facility is the exact same. Like, in the areas where they definitely, because like I said, there's areas they can still improve in, even in my facility. Like, my main complaint was with the whole management thing and, like, you know, not having a real shift. That was my biggest complaint. But in terms of the workload and everything, yeah, it made sense. It's very intensive, and they tell you that, like, you know, you're going to work a lot. Like, it's very fast paced, really. So be careful with that stuff, guys. I'm going to tell you that now. Take care of your back. If you work at Amazon or you work at UPS or FedEx or anything that ships out packages, make sure you watch out for your back. Even people that work at Walmart, just be careful with that stuff. Like I said, I personally have been enjoying my time there, and, you know, obviously, yes, I'm going to go back to college and everything and go back to my studying habits and everything. So I hope you guys enjoy that. Thank you guys so much for coming back and listening to this week's episode. I really appreciate it. Like I said, we are hard at work at getting episode 50 ready for you guys and everything. And next week's topics are going to be really interesting too, because a lot of stuff happened this week, so we have a lot to talk about next week. So I hope you guys enjoy. Come back for those episodes. Appreciate your guys' time to keep downloading the episodes, keep listening. It's been really encouraging to me. Like, it's growing a lot. Like, we're already close to 400 downloads really quick. So thank you guys so much for that. Really appreciate it. And I love you guys to death. And I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. And I'll see you guys next week. Bye, guys.